Hey people, my camera's working again today, so I'm gonna try it again. I put a long movie out yesterday, and I started to read in the Greek Bible. And so this is a Bible study for Satanists, atheists, everybody but Christians. Christians just aren't gonna like it. But I finished reading that chapter up, and I found some stuff that I've been searching for a long time. I cracked the code on several words, and a big one was this ego. I've been trying to pin that word down exactly for a while, and I found it in here where Jesus was walking on the water, and it explains it real well. So I'm not going to hit any of the Hebrew. This is going to be all Greek. It's going to be easier for everybody, and you're going to get this. So if there's any Christians still here, you have to understand that King James did not want you reading this. That's the whole reason he wrote you another. But here's the word elite, E-L-T-H-E, meaning common. And here's the word elitin, meaning to go. Very few of these words have been translated right. So this is Matthew 14. It starts with John the Baptist beheaded. And like I say, John is not John the Baptist, it's Joanna. And that was the favorite wife, the wife of choice of Herod. And Herod would be the hero does. And then the next chapter was Jesus feeds 5,000. And I read a little bit of that yesterday. And I read the whole chapter again, and I caught on some stuff that wasn't quite right. But this ploy, where it says a boat, this is employ. And so to deploy is when you're getting off the boat. To take ever to deploy. When you evacuate the boat, your troops are leaving the boat and going to fight. And employ is not the boat, but it means to employ, to load. And so then after feeding the 5,000 men and all their women and children, it's when Jesus went to walking on the water. And the effect that it had on, it disturbed the disciples, is what it says. And they said that it is a phantom. And so this word comes up twice. It comes up again, and Mark tells a story, but Mark tells it a little differently. But the word is phantasm. Phantasm is not a phantom. Phantasm is fantasy. Phantasm, a figment of your imagination, an illusion. And they were disturbed. But he says, no, it's just an illusion. Wasn't walking on the water. So the story is, after everyone ate the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, Jesus went off by himself into the mountain in private to pray. But if Jesus is the Almighty, who's he praying to? So what it's actually talking about here is here in France. It's talking about a war between the Celts and the occupiers of France at this time. And so like the Hebrew, this is full of riddles. And it's not quite as dirty, but it's still vulgar. And so the key, this is the vav, and it can mean and, or it can mean to, or it could go with this e over here as we. But it's just to the fag on pants, to exhort as this on, which ran to Paris's Yvonne, the 10 class from a ton, dodeca, coffin us, polarize. To the fag on pants, that's letting you know that it's the Celts talking to the Frenchmen, because the Celts are wearing dresses, and the Frenchman's wearing pants. To the fag on pants, to the fag wearing the pants, exhort as this on. Exhort, to I strongly urge you, exhort, I strongly encourage. To the fag on pants to, I strongly encourages this on. which ran to Paris's Yvonne. Paris's Yvonne. Yvonne is a French word that means faggots. And then 10. You could read this as Ten. And what it means is the mark, omega, the last in the cycle, to mark the last cycle. So to us, 10 means the number after 9, is 10. And it has the same meaning, but it's a different number system. And it tells the number system right here of the clause from a ton. A clause, the stipulation from a ton. And so this is a ton here. And so the ton is the moon. This is Alcan, not a ton. Alcan, I can, a ton. And so the moon has a metatonic cycle. It has a metatonic cycle that the Hebrews use, and every 19 years the moon returns to the same place in the sky, and so the name of the day will return to the same. All the ruling angels will be back in the same place. So the moon is a 19-year cycle. To the fag on pants to exhort as this on, strongly urge this on, which ran to Paris's Yvonne, the Paris's faggot, and it's abounding because they're saying that Paris is full of them. The 10, the mark, the last cycle, the clause, the stipulation from a ton. Dodeca, the 12 coffin, Cius, Polaris. And so you count 19 strokes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So this is referring to a metatonic cycle of the moon. And so it starts here, lets you know this is a start, comes all the way to her head. The rest of them have a hand on them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ends up here. And you can tell that this is what it's talking about because the newborn, he's pointing here, and sister's pointing over there too. And that's what this is right here. Moses. And this here is the Ankh. And the Ankh represents death, an obit. The obituary represents death. It represents a mirror. It represents death. And I can't make out in the rest of that. This is the biggest one I could find. But that's what it's pointed to, number 12. The coffin of the dodeca, the 12th coffin in the metatonic cycle. And so, at the time this is written, it's probably letting them know that Moses is no longer Thuban, is no longer the North Star, but it's now Polaris, is now the North Star. To the fag on pants, too. I strongly urge this on, which ran to the Paris's Yvonne, the 10 claws from a ton, the dodeca, the 12 coffins, Cius, Polaris. So this next line is how destionis, how the destination on this has on Andres is men who see Kazillion chores, the gynecee on to paid yon. A Kazillion, a pentakazillion is way more than 1,000. A Kazillion is the same as a gazillion. just means a bunch of chores that your old lady has got for you. It is no set number. And that your destination has on the man who see of 5 million Kazillion chores of the woman on to pay you, to pity on. And you come on down this next line, and this is the same word that they say, thou shalt not, and that just means of which. And you can see here, to deploy on, to deploy on. This means you get on the boat and you're leaving. It's not just and the boat, it's to deploy on. To employ, is to outfit your boat with hands, to hire hands. And to deploy is to, leave the boat. But to deploy on is to get on the boat and go for a cruise. So all together, it's a poem, and it reads, to deploy on Eddie, me son. This the lashes on. You're going to take a beating. You don't deploy on an Eddie, my son, me son. This the lashes on. You take a beating. The basin is omen on. The river basin is omen. It'll let you know what the ocean's going to give you. You don't leave out the river when the eddy's going on. It's not a good sign. It's not a good omen. The upaton comaton on jar in antios see anemos. Upaton is to mark the end cycle. Not just 10, but to mark the end cycle, be your death. Is the mark of the end cycle. Upaton, and then commit on. You have a point of commit. Sometimes you turn around, but when you can't try to turn around when the waves are coming at you, you're close to shore, you're going to breach. You're going to go sideways and get beat in the shore. And so you have a point in there, same as a plane on a runway. There's a spot where, there is no cutting back. You have to go for it. On jar, on anti as sea, anemos. Anti means representation. If you go play poker, on the jar, in the ante, in your representation as C. If you're going to get cards, you got to represent yourself. You got to ante up to see anemos. Anemos is no name. The dead. Anemo, the dead. Teterith, the flack. This nuktos, a pellet. Teterith is a quarter. Quarter the flack, is to not take the waves head on. Quarter the flack. This night a pellet. A pellet is when you try to reverse something. You go to appellate court to try to reverse a ruling. It's the opposite of went forth. Prose, for what to us see, each is see us, the parapet on. The parapet on. So parapet is this guardrail. It'd be on a bridge, on a boat. It's called a parapet wall. The parapet. And each is see us the parapet on. Epithet the lashes. And so the lashes isn't the sea. The lashes is a rough seas. The lashes. And this word goes here. epithizeth. And it's where this word epithet comes from. And it comes from the Greek. And sometimes to attach to a person's name describes a glorified nickname. And that's what it's talking about. Is this epithys, the lashes on. The lashes as. It's the glorified nickname for a rough sea. So you can see how they renumbered this so it reads here, Jesus went forth to them walking. Because everybody knew that Jesus walking means each of us holding on to the parapet wall. And you see how they did the same thing, because it says, and seeing him, the disciples upon the sea walking. It messed it up, so they had to renumber it. So you read here, and the disciples seeing him walking upon the sea. And so this word seeing here, this comes from the same in the Hebrew. The yada is to know. It's the identity, ID. That's where all this comes from. And it's actually talking about two different stories here. In one, it's teaching some seamanship. In the other, it's a story about the rough seas. And it's to Adontis, to the hand on it is this. And it's teaching how sailors use the hand to figure, to figure math and stars. You see the math at tie. But the math at tie also means to collect, to add up. And to adorn something is to put it on. And to adorn it's what's on, how math at tie. The pie, then the lash on, the mouth, then the lash and the lesson. The parapet, to on to, attracts this on. The parapet attracts this on. Everybody's falling toward the parapet and they're holding on tight. The allegiance, the parapet onto attracts this on. Allegiance. You have allegiance with that parapet. And you're not going to turn it loose. And so this is just like that esta over here, where you can read this esta backwards, and it is, and it's the same way. You can read this as it too, and so it's written in the Hebrew, to see tie. If you see a word tied to a picture, it's it too. So the parapet on to attracts this on allegiance. It too, phantasm, it is too. And then is opposing, means away from or away. And here it would read as away. And it's to away to phobo, to fear, the craze on. The craze on, the crazy. So I want y'all to know that this Jesus, has more spellings, and there's one right down here, and this one's really going to tell off the meaning. But this word has a rich meaning. You can read it as youths as, but it means character. It'd take a page. And I'll talk about it when I get in Revelations. It comes up in Revelations with some other ancient books that are older than the Iliad. It talks about. But the youth as deal, a lesson. What to is see, each is use. The legion is the command. There see it. And this is what I was talking about. Ego, the Jimmy, me, phobesti. And so this ego means, here it means the end, the foot end, of the Jimmy of the day. The end of the day from divide, phobest. The youth says, deal a lesson, what to his see. To each his whose legion. Your legion is your command. Your legion of army is your command. There see it. The ego, the day, the foot end, the end of the day. Me for best. So I'm going to skip this one line. I want to read you this one last line. It's going to give a lot away. But it's, oh, deep and elite, to cut a bass away to. Oh, deep and, D is to remove. And so to deepen, to remove, they pen. The elite, to cut a bass, according to a bass. And so here is descending. A bass relief is this ancient artwork where it's raised, where they cut all the other rock around it. And this is and raised artwork is called a bas relief. And so to see deep in the elite, the big, to cut a bass away, to ploy who see Petros. Petros means, they say Peter means rock. Petros is what people on the other side of the world put in their gas tank. But to see deep in the elite, the big, to cut a bass away, it's not necessarily away from, but a way to ploy, to plan, to make sure nobody erases, so they, to see to remove, they pen. And so this walk, it isn't spelt the same. Now it's the peri, the surrounding, the paths, then the rock surrounding the paths in the pie, the circle or the mouth, to Vav, connect data. The mouth to connect data. That would be licking something to get a taste of it. The elite, the big in, the elite fortune, each his own, each to make his own. The elite in fortune, prose, for, and ton is they now spell it tune, T-O-N-E or T-U-N-E. But ton is an old word for fashionable style. The fashionable society, the ton. And so they totally left all that meaning out. The fortune, the elite in fortune to make his own, each his own. So if any of you Egyptologists can make this out, I sure could use some help, and I'll give you some help. I'll whatever you can't get, the more I can get, I can figure out the rest. I find it in the Bible. But yeah, this Aton is the moon, and people that like this, they don't come out during the day. People make fun of their big head kids, But yeah, this is where your word Celtic come from, the Celts. And they wear kilts. And this is talking about the moon stage right here. It's the woman, the tits. You know, and this is a new moon. And she got young tits they hold up in her sock. And then a week later, they get enlarged. She's growing. And then you got your full moons. Them tits are just hung all underneath the sock. You know, and then it's waning here. Looks like she got jacks holding them up, or they're milking. But this isn't just artwork. It has sailors' codes all in it. You know, this is a Nikon, and you see it's over here at the neck on. And this is also, you know, where you cut power. I think it's spelled Z-A or in the Hebrew. Here's a 7, and it looks at 45 degrees. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.